Hello and welcome back to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Ferguson, writer for UCLA on SI. Today we're going to be taking a look at UCLA's huge win against number 10 Illinois, individual performances, overall game flow, and things like that. But before we get started, I want to thank everyone right now who's watching Apple Music, Spotify, or even YouTube. It all means a lot to me, and I can't thank you enough. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Just wow. Great game from UCLA. From top to bottom. Obviously, the first half was a little shaky. At one point, they were down 23 points, but we saw how UCLA was able to respond to adversity, and for that, you can't be that upset. It looked like it was going to be another Michigan State game where, Illinois was going to take over the game in the first few minutes, but UCLA was able to turn things up and were able to take this game. I knew it was going to be close if UCLA were going to win, and I thought they did so. Overtime, got a little dicey. UCLA lost Sky Clark and Eric Daly Jr. to foul trouble. Some discipline issues, but overall they played physical, and I think that's exactly what UCLA needs right now. And obviously Donovan Dent capping off the win with a buzzer beater layup. I'm a neutral fan. I'm wearing a UCLA hoodie, so take that up with to your discretion, of course. But I felt that in my loins. I'm not gonna lie. That was just a great play by Donovan Dent. This court, getting stormed, the culture is back in the building. It felt like after a win like that. Honestly, I think Mick Cronin's seat cools down a little bit following a win like that, but still, great game from UCLA. Honestly, no complaints. Obviously, I will get to some later on. But let's right now start with, individual performances, players who I thought did good, things that I saw throughout the game. Starting off with Trent Perry, another great Trent Perry game. I was a little scared that he was going to fall to the bench to start this game, but he was the starter along with Sky Clark and Dent. UCLA is running that three-guard look, and I think that's where Perry is most comfortable with. 17 points, 4 of 9, 7 for 7 from the line. You can't argue with that performance. It was great. He put the pressure on Illinois in foul trouble. Getting to the line 7 times is obviously not easy to do. He hit a lot of big shots, and I love to see that from Trent Perry. No complaints. 3 personal fouls, but I know if you're playing an overtime game, the fouls are going to start to add up a little bit. But besides that, Trent Perry played well. I liked how he played. I want to keep seeing this moving forward. This is the performance he needed. And next, Donovan Dent, the hero of this game. He went absolutely nuclear in this one. 14 points, 15 assists, 3 rebounds. His shooting was a little shaky, 5 of 15 from the field. But again, that's not really Dent's game. He's a court general by heart. He's going to drive the paint, make those really hard shots. And I thought he did that in this game well. Obviously, we knew his assisting was not the problem with Donovan Dent. His turnovers, he had 0 turnovers, 15-0 turnover ratio. Obviously, there's nothing to complain about that. It really looked like UCLA as a whole were really taking advantage of Donovan's, skill set. He was setting them up for some really good shots. Entering this game, I did say that, Dent is going to need to be that facilitator first kind of guard. And I thought he was that in this game. Obviously, a full game and a half, he's obviously going to score points. But 14 assists, career high, I believe. Again, hero of the game. Great performance by Donovan Dent. No complaints whatsoever. Next, Eric Daly Jr., a surprise in this one. In the last 2 games, he was averaging 3 points and 2 rebounds. It was not looking good for Daly. In this game, I said that I wanted to see him get more rebounds, and stabilize his scoring a little bit. I think he played above expectations scoring-wise and kind of met those expectations rebounding. He had 6 rebounds on the game, and I thought, again, Daly took control of this game. He was dictating the flow, and that's what you want to see from your star starting small forward. A lot of S's there, excuse me. But again, just a great performance by Eric Daly Jr. Nothing you can complain about besides his 5 fouls. I thought we were going to see a repeat of that Indiana game where, when Tyler Billodell fouled out right before overtime, or it might have been the first 2 plays of overtime, just early on, when they needed him most. But still, I thought Daly Jr. responded well. Even to that, the Bruins responded well to Daly fouling out, and I thought UCLA would have been better off with him, but still, the Bruins got it done, and you can't complain about that whatsoever. I love this performance from Eric Daly Jr. I'm skeptical if it'll remain consistent, but still a great game nonetheless. A+, honestly. Up next, Sky Clark, 10 points, 4 of 7, 2 for 4 from 3. He hit some really big shots. He didn't get a rebound or assist. Again, not really his game. He also had a turnover, and he also fouled out in this one. A little below expectations. I thought Clark was really going to take over. We saw him kind of start to do that in the first half. I believe he had most of his points there. He had 7 of his points in the first half. He kind of cooled off in the second half. But overall, I thought Clark hit the shots that mattered. Again, he's probably the most talented player when he is on, but getting there is a little bit tricky for him. But still, I think he played good minutes. He set the tone well. Obviously, he was getting physical, and that's exactly what you kind of want. Maybe some less fouls, but still, he's putting the pressure on, Illinois to beat him. And again, I don't think he let them do that. So not a bad game by Sky Clark. A little bit below expectations, but still coming off a hamstring injury, there are going to be ups and downs in play. I think he had 12 points against Michigan State, so I thought he would build on that a little bit more. He didn't. Still not concerning whatsoever. He's still going to kind of, build to his play as he's kind of dealing with getting off of this injury. There are obviously going to be road bumps during this, and I think this is just one of them. But nonetheless, great game by Sky Clark. Again, I really want to see him be a little bit more disciplined, that kind of thing. But still, I liked how he played. Tyler Bilodeau, great game from him. 18 points, 6 for 11, 2 of 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 0 assists, 3 fouls, also 2 turnovers also on the night. But still, again, he was hitting the shots that it mattered. He played very consistently in the first half. He had, not really consistently, but in the second half, in overtime, I thought he really took over. He had 16 points during those times. In the first half, he had 2. Again, kind of busting off the cobwebs from, all these other games, kind of still getting back into that rhythm. But still, I thought he really took advantage of everything that Dent was giving him. And if he can continue to do that, I think UCLA will be in a very good spot to round out the season. Obviously, their next hard opponent, I would say, is going to be Nebraska. Again, if Bilodeau kind of repeats his performance, maybe a little bit more scoring on his end, I think the Bruins will be in good shape. Tyler Bilodeau is that go-to guy, and I'm happy he was able to play overtime. He would hit a 3 to take the lead during that time. Again, I loved how he played. Every time he got the ball, I felt like good things were going to happen, and they did. Again, 6 of 11. That is some pretty good shooting overall. I'm happy he was able to play in overtime. I think the Bruins beat Indiana if he was still playing in that game during the overtime. But still, good game from Tyler Bilodeau. He didn't get into foul trouble. I think he had a flagrant one earlier in the game, kind of setting the tone. Basketball play, it happens. But still, good play from Tyler Bilodeau. I want to see this move forward. On the bench, there's not really much to talk about. Jamar Brown, 0 points. Brandon Williams, 0 points. Eric Frenny, 0 points. Jamerson, 0 points. I wanted to see Jamerson play in this one. I thought this was a good opportunity to have a revenge game, especially after what happened against Michigan State. But again, he played 2 minutes. Not, what I expected to see, but still, I think as the season progresses, I think we'll start seeing more Jamerson moving forward. I hope that his lack of minutes were more of a matchup concern, not necessarily, the drama surrounding him and Cronin, because that would be kind of, degrading, not something you want to see. I like Jamerson. I think he's a good player. But if, the politics are getting involved with how many minutes he's getting into the court, I don't like to see that. But still, I think moving forward, we'll see more of him. But yeah, bench points, not that good. Up next, I want to talk about Xavier Booker. I almost skipped over him. He played great in this game. This was another marquee Xavier Booker performance overall from top to bottom. Against Rutgers, we saw his scoring become, him showcase how well of a scorer he is. And I thought he did this exact same against, Illinois. He scored 16 points, went 7 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line, had 4 rebounds, and played 24 minutes. He wasn't in the starting rotation. Again, I thought, this was going to come sooner rather than later. And there's a lot of reasons why. I think UCLA is much better when their guards are in space and they kind of create plays for themselves. Eric Daly Jr. and Bilodeau can handle the 4 and 5 pretty well. So, Booker falling to the bench, I think that gives UCLA a better cushion to have more rested players who can, fill in. But when he did play, he really turned things up. I think the biggest takeaway, I thought he was playing like an actual center in this one. Obviously, he was still taking threes, but still, he had like two huge putback layups, and you just have to smile when you see that, especially from Booker. That's not really what he's known for, but I thought him doing that, along with how hard he was attacking the paint. I mean, there were so many times where Dent would dish the ball to him and he would just, it looked flawless. From Booker, he was able to finish well. And that's exactly what we want to see from Booker, for him to be physical in the paint, be that guy who you can rely on to get a rebound once in a while and create points off of that. And I thought Booker did that. 4 rebounds, a little concerning, a little low, especially with all this praise I'm giving for him being, that center guy. But still, rebounds were harder in this one for sure. Illinois, I believe, had 43 to UCLA's 27, which, looking at that, it's a miracle that UCLA even won this game. But again, Illinois has guys in the paint who are going to get the rebounds more times than not, and I thought we saw that in this one. Illinois had 23 defensive rebounds and 20 offensive rebounds, and also had 27 second chance points. So the paint wasn't managed the best, but still, I thought when there was an opportunity, Booker didn't let it, slip past him. He always was able to make good out of it. And moving forward, that is what UCLA will need if there's any hopes of, making the tournament now. I know they're a fringe team as it stands now. I think this win will obviously, boost them up a little bit more, but still, you have to play your best basketball. And I think what the best basketball looks like is when Booker plays like this. It gives UCLA a chance to really dictate what goes on in the paint to an extent. Obviously, Illinois is that team who is very scary. I believe they had 30 points in the paint, but when you compare that to UCLA, they had 38. So it was clear UCLA had that edge in that regard. So again, you just have to look at that and smile. Great game by Booker, no complaints. I also thought Mick Cronin really was good at making adjustments. Against Michigan State, we saw that there were times where, Mick Cronin didn't really know what he was doing. I don't know exactly what was going on in the huddle, but it seemed hard to, draw up those plays to, get your guys open and make shots. Or even on the defensive side, Michigan had an 18-0 run. In this one, they had a Illinois had a 12-0 run against UCLA. But I thought Mick Cronin was able to adjust well, and UCLA was really able to stick it to, the Fighting Illini when it mattered the most. I think right after that 12-0 run, the Bruins were able to score an 8-0 run. So again, this was a game of runs, and I thought UCLA showcasing that in this one, that they're capable of, going 17-4 against Illinois. I thought that was, a step in the right direction for Mick Cronin as a coach, and also UCLA as a team knowing what they're capable of against, a top 10 team in the country. I think that is going to really help them to finish off this season strong, and you really have to be excited in the coming weeks when it comes to UCLA basketball. Am I scared that this is a temporary thing, that, the next game they play, I believe it's against USC, that they're going to, play terrible? I don't think so. I feel like this feels different compared to when UCLA beat number 4 Purdue earlier. Obviously, Purdue has slipped a little bit, but still, I thought UCLA, looked a lot different in this one. I feel like they had an identity that wasn't there before. If they can keep this up, I think the Bruins have a real good shot of, even making a deeper run in the tournament than most people expect. Again, I love this performance from UCLA. I want to see this happen more and more. But yeah, overall, great game from UCLA. I can't complain too much. Obviously, I want to see more rebounding, but again, UCLA is not a rebounding team. I think they're like 400th in the nation when it comes to rebounding. So if it's not fixed now, it's not going to be fixed then. But again, that's all I really have to say today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Obviously, a great win, a great treat if you're a Bruins fan. And again, all you can do is just look up and smile when you see the final score of this game. Again, thank you so much for watching this podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Ferguson. And as always, 4's up and have a good day.